Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Today we're going to talk about Nasdaq adding an index for XRP, so meaning they're going to be listing the price on their website, tracking it. We're going to talk about Mike Novogratz's firm inside of 12 months losing almost $300 million. And check this out. Almost every American in the world knows what Bitcoin is. Vast majority. That's kind of neat. I'm going to talk about that. And more own it than I thought, too. And Tether, did you guys hear this? This is crazy. You guys have probably heard some of what's, well, you could call it FUD if you want, over the last several months in particular, about Tether being insolvent or this or that. There's been a whole bunch of FUD. Well, this isn't quite that, but as it turns out, the whole premises, public's understanding was, for every Tether out there, there's $1 US backing it, and that's not true. We've got proof, finally, of that. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. Let's start off with this one because it's XRP focused, and I love seeing real-world adoption of XRP. And I understand, okay, so Nasdaq, fine. They're not going to be actually buying or selling XRP. It's not available, they're not trading any cryptocurrency. But this adds credibility. So check out what they wrote here. Stock exchange operator Nasdaq is adding yet another cryptocurrency index, this time for the world's third largest cryptocurrency, XRP. The company announced Monday that, though its partnership with New Zealand-based blockchain data and research firm Brave New Coin, it will offer real-time index information for XRP starting May 1st, which is tomorrow. Now, that's cool stuff. And I still think, and I've said this before, it's been a while since I said it, though, but we're going to be in a very liquid world here moving forward. I don't know what the timeline is. The adoption's going to take time for people to get the big picture and what the true value of digital assets is today and what it can be in the future. It's not just going to be as Bitcoin's primary initial purpose, which is as a peer-to-peer currency. There's so much more that you can do with digital assets that are decentralized than just to treat it as money. So it's here to stay, and there's going to be adoption coming here. I'm excited to be a part of this, just as a spectator. Getting involved in creating this channel is as involved as I'll probably ever be in cryptocurrency. This and Twitter, okay, but it's really fun to track, and so. Again, this just adds credibility to what digital assets are. And so I was curious, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about Nasdaq. Just a couple high-level questions I had. How long has Nasdaq been around? Turns out they were founded in 1971. And how big are they? And they're the world's second largest exchange. World's second largest. And they have a total market cap of $10 trillion. So that's fascinating. So anyway, just understand the scope of that. They've been around for decades and decades, highly reputable, second largest in the world, market cap of $10 trillion, and they're now adding an index for XRP, active as of tomorrow. Let that sink. I just think that's the coolest thing in the world. I love these real world adoption stories. So next year we got Mike Novogratz. Oh, poor soul. This guy comes off as really likable, so I'm not enjoying reporting this. This is a sad story from CoinDesk titled Novogratz's Galaxy Digital Crypto Fund lost $272.7 million in 2018. All right. So it starts off, Galaxy Digital Holdings, the crypto merchant bank founded by former hedge fund manager Michael Novogratz, lost $97 million in the fourth quarter, according to financials disclosed Monday. The net loss widened from $76.7 million in the third quarter and from about $100,000 a year earlier, according to the filing with Canadian securities regulators. And so what's the final number? Yeah, right here. So for all of 2018, its first full year of operation, the company lost $272.7 million. Now, in his defense, timing is everything, as they say. This was not good timing, okay? So he launched this thing, and then we had the biggest bear pullback in the history of the entire asset class. So it's just poor timing. But he did go on to cite that they're going to remain solvent. They've apparently got quite a war chest anyway, despite how much money was lost last year. And because of their strategic selling over the course of the year, it could have been a lot worse, frankly, for them. They really, good thing they sold something on the way down. But they get the big picture. So I would never want to belittle or make fun of anybody that jumped in at the top, and this is tantamount to that in my mind. They launched this and then, bam, crash. But I think if you look back in the future, as long as they really are, have the funds to maintain their solvency, which they claim to, I mean, you could look back another 5-10 years from now, and this, Galaxy Digital Holdings could be massive. So I'm sympathetic to anybody that's lost money during the bear market, just to be clear. Want to share this with you. I had heard in the past that, first of all, they've held XRP. They did short it. I saw Mike Novogratz state that in an interview. I think it was over a year ago. And also, they do own Ripple, the company. They have preferred stock right here. And I did know that as well. For those of you that don't know, yeah, you as an individual can't buy stock in Ripple, the company, the private company, without meeting very stringent requirements, legal requirements. And so I knew, because Mike Novogratz had said in the past, that they owned some of Ripple, the company. They can buy them against secondary markets. Before this, I didn't know how much they owned or what they had spent. So it looks like he spent just shy of $24 million getting whatever amount they got, and apparently the fair market value is $27.5 million. So they got a little bit of that. Also, it was interesting. They have interest in apparently backed holdings, which I was unaware of that, and also Pantera. I don't think I had heard that they are involved in Pantera, which is also huge, and I think they've been taking a beating this year as well. But look, crypto's here to stay, and look, like I said, look at the first thing I covered here. Okay. Nasdaq, they're lending credibility, and these are not stupid people. So I think given enough time, those digital assets that can serve a real purpose, those are the ones that will have staying power. And that's why I'm such a strong proponent for XRP, not financial advice, but I'm a very strong proponent for XRP. I just see what Ripple's doing and every other developer building on top of the XRP ledger, and it's just awesomeness. Okay, check out this one. This is from Cointelegraph, titled, 11% of Americans own Bitcoin. Major awareness increased since 2017. Did you know it was that high? I didn't think it was anywhere near 11%, so this is kind of cool to see, because Bitcoin's like the gateway drug, and then you can find about cryptocurrencies that actually do something, like XRP, and they're actually useful. So there's that. So I'm not going to read any of this to you. I'll just cite a couple of the little charts they got here. So... yeah, you can look here. So this is what's kind of fascinating. They kind of break it out by age from fall 2017 to spring 2019. And so the percentage of people that had heard of Bitcoin in fall 2017 was 77%, and now it's up to 89%. 89% of Americans know of Bitcoin, even if they don't know a whole lot about it. They're aware of it. They know it exists, and that just seems like a staggering number to me. I just feel like if I walked up to 10 people, I don't think that 9 out of 10 of them would know what the heck it is. But hey, I could be wrong, whatever. If this is true, it's true. I just find it fascinating. But even more interesting is the fact that 11% actually own it. That's crazy. Now, not surprisingly here, although 11% own Bitcoin, at least a little bit, look at how it's broken up age. This is not going to surprise you. The younger people are more likely to adopt. So you've got age 18 to 34, 20% own it. Think about that. That's 1 out of 5. And then age 35 to 44, 15%. 45 to, let's just call it 64, 5%. And then 65 plus, only 2% own it. So again, the way that it tamps down as people, demographics. Excuse me, as demographics. The age increases, it's not surprising that those people would be less technologically savvy. But, man, for 1 out of 5 people age 18 to 34 to own Bitcoin, that's amazing to me. That's, wow. That's, you say what you want about Bitcoin, that's adoption of at least, let's call it the cryptocurrency asset class, right? Because think about it, if you do own Bitcoin, especially if you're in that age group, I bet you don't just own Bitcoin. And I wonder how many of them own XRP too. Yeah. All right, check this out. Tether. Oh, Tether. I've never used Tether. Have you? Probably a lot of you have. Tons of people have. I'm scared of it. All right, so this is from CoinDesk also. Tether lawyer admits stablecoin now 74% backed by cash and equivalents. Oh, man, that's terrible. Okay. Tether, the company behind USDT, holds about $2.1 billion in cash and short-term securities, wrote its general counsel Stuart Hoegner in an affidavit Tuesday. Hoegner, I don't know how to say that, is also general counsel to Bitfinex, a crypto exchange which shares executives and has overlapping owners with Tether. Now, the good news is they have at least $2.1 billion, assuming this part's true, because, I mean, some of the stories out there are like, do they have anything? Is there any proof that they have any money? And also, if this is true, okay, it could have been worse, I guess. But what was interesting in reading through this piece here, not fully backed, this attorney for Tether argues that Tether does not need to hold $1 for every USDT issued. Well, what was your understanding of Tether prior to today? That there's $1 for $1 US dollar for every Tether that's issued. Because if that doesn't have to be the case, you can just print it, which apparently perhaps is what they've done here. That's what stories I've read in the past. If you don't have $1 for every USD, man, gosh, talk about misleading. That is not people's perception, and I don't even know why you'd want to have a stable coin that isn't actually genuinely backed. But this is the type of stuff you run into when you've got a coin in quotation marks that's centralized. God. Can you imagine? And that's why, when people try to make arguments, they're like, you don't need XRP to the bridge currency. You can just use a Tether. You can use any stable coin out there. And I'm like, can you? Do you see what's happening here? Can you? There's so many reasons. I've already fleshed that story out, but this is just another thing added to the pile. My argument's why you're never going to be able to use a Tether or a bank coin for a bridge currency, because who's going to trust it? Unless you've got everything, or vast majority of your money already in US dollars, and in which case, how does it solve as a bridge solution? It's silly. So that's another thing that's popped in my head as I was reading through this. This is silly. I don't, as much as I don't like this, whatever reaction the public's going to have, if it's even worse than this, if it is, and I've never made a claim one way or another. I just read the same stories that you guys do. But look, I want the whole asset class to mature, and even if Tether were completely insolvent, it will not ruin the asset class. It might tank prices temporarily, faith can be lost, this or that, but it would just be irrational humans making irrational human-style choices, and then the market would come back anyway. So from my mind, the sooner we can just, if this is the case, if for anybody that's shady in the space, I don't care if it's Tether or anyone, pick an act. Let them crash and burn, and then let us move on as adults. That's kind of my stance on this. But that being said, I pulled up Live Coin Watch just for the fun of it, and market's not looking too bad. You got XRP up to 31 cents. It's just down to, I think it was down to about 28 cents just a couple of days ago, and I only know that because I bought some. I don't really check price very frequently, but I was just curious if this Tether news did anything, and it looks like it didn't. Bitcoin's up over 5,400 again. So, I think nobody cares so far. I don't know. I don't have to tell you guys. Whatever. I think if it were a major story, people might panic more, like, say it wasn't backed at all, and that were to be proved, and whatever. But that's not the case. And so here we are. Yay, Tether. Feel free to drop a comment below, and please consider liking and subscribing if you don't hate everything that you just heard from me. All right. Not a financial advisor, so again, don't buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.